Hello. Welcome yet to another good episode of To the Fullest, 2TF. I am your host, Ivan Mwape Vagwada. On today's episode, this is a special episode in that number one, I'm with a person where before I speak my English, I have to think twice. Secondly, we're in the beautiful city of Kitwe. This is my first time being in Kitwe, CBU. This place is nice. I'm shivering now. I'm missing my English. Yeah, because before I came here,
Yes.
I was watching your video, the one you're talking about. When you want the accent to come out, don't think about the accent.
No?
Just make sure the way to come out or pronounce it.
Exactly.
So that's
Yeah.
like, no, I don't want to miss my pronunciation.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you are just someone who loves good content, unless otherwise you've come across this man, especially on TikTok, his name is Joseph Lukali. He's doing great, changing people's perspective, people's thinking, teaching us, public speaking, finance, profession, and just discovering yourself as a person. That's why me and my team will be like, no, it doesn't matter what it takes. We are following him there in Kitwe. My good man, my good sir, how are you? I'm really humble.
So nice to be here.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I know you are a very busy man, and I know even now I'm sure you have somewhere to be, but we really appreciate giving us this time just to have a conversation with you and welcoming us to Kitwe. This is a really nice place.
You're very much welcome. We are glad you're here.
Thank you.
Glad. I was looking forward to this day, by the way.
Thank you very much. No, I saw how much you really shared everything. I was like, yo, this is the first guest who's ever shared before we even meet.
Yeah.
That meant so much to me personally and my team. We are very, very grateful. So to start with, was Joseph.
Who is Joseph Lukali?
Or let me do it in an accent. Start with Joseph.
Right.
Yes, Joseph.
I don't really want to talk much about some of the qualifications in ABCD, but to describe Joseph Lukali is a young person who believes that the future starts now.
Yeah.
Right? If we go and start talking about some of the things that I've done and what I am, some of the positions that I hold, they may not really be necessary here.
Yeah.
But in a nutshell, I am a trained public speaker, a personal growth coach, a transformational leader. I did a course in hermeneutics, homiletics, exegesis, and ministry ethics at the Peak Performance Leadership. Yeah. And I also sit on the board of Supernatural Voice of God Young Adults Movement on the national leadership. Yeah. And then I also run What Lacks Equip, NGL Growth Hub. What Lacks Equip is an organization that equips people to master communication skills. And then JL Growth Hub is a mentorship community where we teach people things that relate to personal growth as well as public speaking.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Surrounded by wisdom today. Hopefully you really got all that, because I'm trying to process the first one. I've read the second one. Before I reach the second one, we are on fourth. Like, God Almighty, just need to go and watch again. Should I call you brother or sir? Which one?
You can call me brother.
Oh, we're brothers. Thank you very much. Brother Joseph.
Yes.
How was life like growing up?
How was life? That's a very rare question. How was life? I have to say that throughout my journey in life and where I've reached, where I come from, there is only one word that describes where I am and how life has been for me. God's grace.
God's grace.
It's been grace, sir, because honestly, I don't deserve to be here. If I say that I deserve to be here, I would be lying, because it hasn't been easy. There are some days I actually even never thought that I would be here, even at the Copperbelt University, but grace brought us here.
No, that's really great. The reason why I had to ask the question, how was life like growing up? Because personally, I believe whatever a person is because of what made them.
Exactly.
So that's why we didn't want to know what built the Joseph we are seeing today. What journey has built this man we're seeing today.
Right. Let me get into details.
Let me
get into a couple of details. So, let me first mention also that I was exposed to a lot of things very early in my life. By the way, I'm a young man. I'm a very young man, right? I'm not an elder. I'm a very young man.
Yeah.
But I got exposed to a lot of things at a very young age. In that, when I got exposed to these very things, thank God, it was around people that I trusted, people that shared wisdom with me.
Yeah.
And then after being exposed to some of these things, which I won't really explicitly mention here, but in general, I was exposed to a lot of things at a very young age.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I said the fact that I'm here is because of God's grace, is because some people, some of the things that I've gone through, some people didn't survive.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
So the fact that we're here is because of grace. And one of the things that I was really exposed to very early in my life is the same thing of speaking.
Yeah.
By the way, my father is a pastor.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
My father is a pastor.
Yeah.
However, he's not really pastoring a church, but he was co-pastoring a particular church, Words of Salvation Ministry.
Yeah.
They have a branch at Findigo House, Lusaka. Yes. So he started, like he was working, saving and everything, and then a couple of things happened, and then he withdrew a little bit. You see, so that gap that was left has also built the person that I am today, because I'm like, if he is not there, who's going to take that space?
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
And then I got to realize that sometimes we don't really have to wait for people to tell us that this is the time to do this. Sometimes you have to own up, make time right for you.
Exactly. Wow. Oh, wow. My man, sir, you really is something else. It's not easy for someone our age to build themselves the way you've built. If nobody has told you, let me tell you, it's not easy. You know, the way you've discovered yourself. You're truly an example of someone who knows who they are and what they are doing. That's why I was like, this is the man. This is the right time. No matter what, let's just go and meet him and just learn and just introduce him to our audience. And at least we also get to know what's behind this man, what's behind this team. And I've seen you have a great team, huh? Yeah, a great team.
Yeah.
So I would want us to talk. You just said you were exposed to speaking as a young child.
Yeah.
I think that's what I want us to focus on today, public speaking.
Yes, yes.
So to you who's doing it, I would want to know, what is public speaking? How can one build? Because we all speak. So what's differentiated? If I'm speaking, then isn't it that public speaking? What differentiates is how does it help someone, you know, as a person? So my first question would be, so that I don't give you so many at once.
Yeah.
What is public speaking to you?
What is public speaking?
Yeah.
Very nice question. Because one of the things that I love talking about is public speaking. It's a passion of my heart. And every time when I'm sharing stuff about public speaking, I feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
Is that fulfillment?
Yeah.
Okay. So number one, a lot of people, if you ask them what is public speaking, they tell you standing in front of people and speaking.
Yeah.
Let me just say this, Mr. Evan.
Yeah.
Your voice is a very powerful tool.
Yeah.
Okay. A voice can be used to start a war. It can also break a heart. With just a few words, you can break someone's heart. With just a few words, you can start a war. Few words by using your what? Your voice.
Yes.
What is public speaking? Public speaking is using your voice to make a difference.
Yeah.
Public speaking is using your voice to make a difference. Unpopular definition, because most of the time people think speaking is all about standing on the stage. But public speaking starts before you even stand on the stage. Before you get on the stage, public speaking has already started. It's about using your voice to make a difference.
Yeah. Wow.
That is what public speaking is. In a nutshell, that is what public speaking is. I can go into details and specifics and explain why I'm saying public speaking is using your voice to make a difference.
Yeah.
Should I go there?
Why do you say so? You know, we want people to, why do you say so?
So here's the thing. When you're speaking, okay, there are 3 levels of connecting. Number 1, it's one-on-one.
Yeah.
The second level is in a group.
Yeah.
The third is with an audience where you're in front, you're now speaking.
Yeah.
So great public speakers or good public speakers are not individuals who are bad people.
Yeah.
Let me not sound biased. Great public speakers are good people.
Yeah.
The point I'm making here is, before someone can become great at speaking publicly with an audience, it has to start with them being able to communicate their messages on a one-on-one level.
Yeah.
On that, it always starts there. If one-on-one I'm able to communicate effectively with you, chances are in a group I'll communicate better.
Yeah.
And then the odds are that if in a group I'm able to communicate better with an audience, I'll communicate even greater.
Yeah.
So it always starts from one-on-one interactions, and then from there in a group, and then last on the stage. But before you go on the stage, it has to start with you becoming a better person, being interested in making a difference with your voice.
That's really very powerful. Yeah, yeah. You know, public speaking, I can feel the confidence when you speak. It's different with everybody. When I'm speaking to other guests,
Yes.
it's just the energy in your voice.
Yeah.
Energy now, your gestures, everything.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Are all these part of public speaking? Do you also have to use on the voice tone, the gestures? Yeah.
Great question.
Yeah.
Recently, I mean, we're from winning, like I told you. I'm from speaking at the IIA in-house symposium. We won first place. 10 speakers were competing, and we came out first. So if you watch my presentation, one of the things that you see is how that I was able to employ gestures, eye contact, and how that I was able to use vocal variety. This is how you can use your voice to really emphasize points, and how sometimes you can lower your voice to gain attention. The point I'm trying to make here is all these things make public speaking. Okay, but there is more to it. Vocals, gestures, eye contact, confidence, they are not ends in themselves, but they are means to an end. There is a greater end at the end. All these are tools that we can use to communicate effectively.
Well, I'm really enjoying myself today. Oh, wow. How is it? Is it beneficial? Is public speaking beneficial on a personal level? Do you feel these things when you master it? Is it financially paying?
Great question.
Yeah.
Before we even talk about finances first, let me talk about the significance of public speaking. I was telling a couple of people yesterday that I think public speaking is one of the most fundamental, relevant skills that every person needs to learn. Whether you will be an accountant, or whether you're an accountant, whether you're a banker, whether you're an engineer, whatever career path you will choose, one thing that you get to realize is you will speak to people. You will talk to people. Because our lives are so interconnected in that we are surrounded by people. Everything that we do, business is with people. School is with people. Media, everything that we're doing is what? Around people. So I think public speaking is one of the fundamental skills that every person needs to learn. Because the ability to communicate or the lack of it determines how far you will go in your career. So public speaking is very, very fundamental. Like I told you, it's beyond being on the stage. It's about using your voice to make a difference. Is it viable? Is it viable? Can you make something from speaking? Quite all right. We know certain people that are great speakers making thousands of dollars after just an hour of speaking. All right. So it's very, 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 very beneficial. It's viable. You can make income from it. But I think there is a greater purpose to speaking than just making money. Of course, soon we'll be earning also. For 30 minutes we have fees and everything.
I'm sure you are earning already. I'm sure you're doing that already. That I can bet. I can bet on that.
So it's viable. You can make money from it. But the point here is, I think being able to communicate effectively is one thing that everyone needs to learn. We need to strive to become better communicators. Can I tell you something that will shock you? By the way, I've been working on a book for over 2 years now. I think we'll release it soon, probably in a couple of months. So in the book, I talked about how that the High Court in the United States, the judge of the High Court, said majority of the problems they face is because of someone's inability to see another person's view or point. Let me break that in a nutshell. That there is public speaking. Someone is saying, how? Let me explain something. Public speaking is more of listening than speaking.
That's true.
That is why I said, before you think of going on the stage, you have to think of becoming a better person. If you're able to communicate on a one-on-one level, chances are you'll be better in a group. Okay, so they said now most of the problems that we're facing is because people, are failing to see another person's point of view. Public speaking is not really telling people what you think. It's about going into their world, communicating from their world, seeing their point of view and communicating from there. That is exactly it. Because the bottom line here is what? It's listening. It's listening. If you listen, you see, every time I say something, or when you say something to someone, what gets to happen is that person will filter whatever you've said using their lens of understanding.
That's true.
Their experiences and what they've gone through. That is it. But listening is beyond that. Listening is understanding someone, viewing something from their point of view, not what you think. That is what public speaking is. Public speaking is more about listening than speaking, in that when we listen, we become better speakers. Epictetus, first century Greek philosopher, said, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak.
Wow.
So the bottom line here is what? Listening.
Yeah.
Listening. That's what makes public speaking to be great, and for us to become better at this thing is if we can become great listeners.
Yeah.
Okay, have you ever felt when you're being truly heard, there is that feeling you get when you know this person is truly listening to you?
Yeah, that's very, 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 very true. There's something I've always wanted to understand. I think this one I'm asking for myself.
Yes.
When it comes to public speaking, is writing part of it? For example, if I'm trying to communicate with you, we are at a distance, so we need to chat. Is that part of public speaking?
Okay, so I'm going to answer that question this way. By the way, if we try to talk about communication, you get to realize that communication is in 2 forms, right? There is written and spoken. Okay, spoken where you speak, and then written where you write stuff, and then people are able to read. However, when you write stuff or you're communicating to an audience, that really isn't public speaking, as in professional speaking, but that has to do with branding. Exactly. Because also the extent to which you're able to write good content and communicate it effectively doesn't necessarily signify that you're a public speaker, but that you're a content creator, because content creation is beyond making videos.
You see, because the reason I've asked, I saw a quote from one of the good public speakers I know, and the quote was, to be a great public speaker, you have to be a great writer, because it starts with a speech you write before you deliver it.
Great stuff. It starts with the speech you write
before you deliver it.
Interesting. Okay. How I wish we had that speaker here so that we can explain this thing, because sometimes we may not really know what he meant in details, because he communicated that point. So it's not necessarily, but here's what I can say. Do you know there are certain people who don't even know how to write, but they are good at writing, good at speaking? If you tell them, okay, here's a pen, write a speech here, they will fail. Write a speech for them, give it to them, you see how much they'll speak. So the point I'm making here is, in as much as these two, they're interlinked and they're interconnected, one on its own doesn't signify public speaking. Yes, sir. So being able to write, okay, let's just say, there are certain people that write content, maybe online, before we let's just talk about speeches, maybe online, they write posts, they make all those things, but if you get them, put them on the stage, they won't be able to speak effectively. So they are good at writing, but speaking is another thing. Writing is a key, speaking is a key, but they're different.
Very, very.
Yes, sir.
So now coming to you as a public speaker, a professional public speaker, what are some of the challenges you have faced as a public speaker? First, let's start with the environment where you are. Then your relations with others, family, and how does people view you?
How do people view me? First of all, it's an interesting question. Love it. So, like I told you, I'm a very young man. So before sometimes we speak, or before we even blew up here, right? Before we had massive engagements, like our audience, because I came from Lusaka. When I came here, different space, different environment, different people that I've never heard of you. So before we began doing this thing, when we were shooting or making content, or before we even got invitations to speak at meetings, even when they look at us, they say, this is just a young man. So that is underestimation there. You've already seen it, right? This is just a young man. You get it? But that didn't limit me. That didn't limit us. But one of the challenges we face is people underestimated us. This is just a young person. You get it? This is just a young person. Before we opened our mouth to speak, we first underestimation. People underestimated. We were underrated. Okay, what are they going to say? Okay, but despite that, we pushed through. And look at where we are now.
You're doing great.
Underration, yes.
I get. So number you've been looked down on because of your age.
Exactly.
And that's something most of young people are going through. Not just you. They're trying to enter into this business. They're trying to reach with these people who are established. They're like, no, my guy, still have a long way to go. They won't help you. They'll just look down on you.
That's right.
Even me personally, it's a testimony I have. I reach out to this greater man. Someone I've given myself to his services, sometimes work for him. Then that's, sir, can you just feature? It says 20 minutes. I won't take much of your time. Your 20 minutes will be enough. Like, build yourself just to go. When you're with me, I'll come through. I'll say, it's discouraging.
It's debilitating. And I think, let me just mention something here to even the audience and even to ourselves here. Here is the thing. You are not too young to start making a difference.
Exactly.
You are never too young to start making a difference. And I think the best time to start working on your dreams and to become the best version of yourself is right now.
Yeah.
It's today. So no matter the age, because the truth of the matter is your speed in life is not determined by age.
Yeah.
It's determined by the quality of information at your disposal and the level of insight with which you're operating.
Yeah.
So it's not really about age. Because think about it, if we go biblically here, you get to realize that Jesus at age 12, he was in the temple asking questions. And the Pharisees were like, oh, Jesus, who is this boy?
Yeah.
Right? So at age 12, he was asking questions, answering questions. At age 12. Now, most of us, the people that listen to you, they're over 12. Okay, the point I'm making here is there is never a right age to start working on your dreams.
Yeah.
Right? You are never too young to start working on your dreams and making a difference. The right time for you to begin making a difference is now. Whatever age that you're at, about 15, just start. Because like I told you, I got exposed to many things very early in my life. Like I remember by the time when I was 13, I was speaking in meetings. I was being coached. I was being invited to go and speak.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're never too young to start making a difference. People may underrate us, they might underestimate us, but that shouldn't be some sort of a grip holding us from moving forward.
Yeah.
People will always be people.
Yeah.
People will always be, they'll always underestimate. There will be people that will underestimate you. They'll tell you, who are these people? But look, you don't need to focus on the critics. Focus on those people that are supporting you, because the critics, they envy you because they have something you have.
Yeah. But and critics also important in the growth of
They're very important.
Yeah.
Very important. By the way, we are criticized every day.
Yeah.
Some people think the way we speak, we forge it. Some people think, honestly speaking, some people, they'll comment on our content. They'll be, no, your accent, whatever, you'll be one of the best scammers on the planet. No, ABCD, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And we just look at them and we laugh. That's what we do with my team. So some of them will say me, Joseph, look at what this person
You
said.
know, I think that's where I was going. I was like, I saw one comment. Someone says, can you try to use just normal, but so that people hear you?
So people, exactly. This is me. Wake me up at 01. This is how I speak. It's not really about, but you see, like I said, critics, they criticize you because you have something they don't.
Yeah.
That's the point I was trying to make. It's because there is something that you have, something you carry that envies them.
Yeah.
So they're looking at you and they're like, I wish I can speak like this person.
Yeah.
But now I can't speak like him. So just criticize him.
Yeah.
That's what critics do.
Wow.
That's it. But they're important in your growth because they show you that you're heading somewhere. People don't talk about anything that is nothing. That's it. If you're doing nothing worthwhile, nobody will say anything. Start doing something meaningful.
Yeah.
That's when people start talking. So one of the proofs that shows that you're doing something meaningful is when people are talking.
Wow.
People are talking. That's it. Even Jesus, he was doubted. They said, who is this guy? Can anything good come out of nothing? Who is this boy? Whatever he's doing, ABCD. So people will always criticize us. Okay? But if they criticize you, it's because you're doing something meaningful.
Oh, wow.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this has been an episode like no other, man. It has been so impactful, so insightful. How I wish we can just go on and go on and go on. Yes, sir. I know you are a busy man, and I'm sure right now you are trying to write somewhere, but just to come to conclude everything, my last question would be, what is your support from the do you have full support from the family? Do they call you to say, no, I think this, try to focus on school, this would distract you? Do you get such calls from family and friends?
If I tell you, my family is not the greatest family on the planet, but they are the best.
Yeah.
Recently, when our content went viral, I got calls from uncles calling me saying, we see what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
Continue, because even me, I'm touched. I think my family, all the people around me, are very supportive. Very supportive. From my mother, she's my biggest fan, by the way.
Yeah.
Every time we do something great, she's like, oh, my boy.
Yeah.
So family, I have a great family. They're doing great. They support me in everything that I'm doing. Every time we make content that is helping people out there, I receive messages, a number of messages from them, elders, my mothers, aunties, uncles, who are telling me you're doing great. I was also personally blessed with what you're saying. Please keep it up. Continuing. Most of the time when we share content, they are even the first ones to share those content also on their status, TikTok and everywhere. So my family, very supportive, because I know how to integrate school and this thing that we do.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's really awesome. This has been a very, very great conversation,
Yes,
sir. Yeah. Just to summarize, what are your last words to your viewers who's going to see this video? Yeah.
Last words. Great question.
Yeah.
Let me even look in the camera. Let me look in the camera. Yeah.
Let me back you up.
Now here are my last words.
Yeah.
There will never be a time like the present. Okay? There will never be a time like the present. The time for you to start doing something meaningful is now. I think I have been sharing this message multiple times now, right? There will never be a perfect time, right? There will never, if this moment, sir, if we're done here speaking, I think 15 minutes or 20 minutes, the minutes that we've used right now, we'll never recover them again. So time is one important currency that when you use it, you can never recover it. That is why they say time is money. But let me tell you the truth. Time is far much greater than money because money is made in time. The point I'm making here is don't underestimate the time that you have today. Whatever that you want to start working on, please start. You think you can sing? Start singing. You think you can write? Start writing. Do not wait for the perfect moment because it doesn't exist. Let this be a message that will resonate deeply with you. Have it to the core. There will never be a time like the present. Whatever you want to do, start doing it now. And if there are people that have been doubting you or nobody's ever told you that they believe in you, there's one person seated right here that believes in you. I believe in you. Yes.
I believe in you also. So on today's episode, I had a chat with Mr. Joseph Lukali. He's a public speaker. I just wanted him to shed more light on public speaking. This is something we all need right now. This is something that your business depend on, your school, your relationship, almost everything in your life to work. You have to be good at communication. You have to be good when it comes to communicating with others. And I've liked the point which he said, it's not always about hearing your voice, but you also hearing other people's voice.
Exactly.
I have been your host, Ivan Mwapeva Brother. See you next time.